first time in 15 years, pro football is back on ABC come February 2020. We're not talking about the NFL. Nah, that's passé. We're talking about the rebirth of the XFL, and who better than to get a look at the new league than a man who's in on the ground floor with us tonight in the studio, coach and GM of the St. Louis Battlehawks. That just kind of rolls nice off the tongue. Jonathan Hayes. Jonathan, how are you doing? Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. It's always fun to see you and come in and give my point of view on things.
Well, let's get your point of view on the XFL. You guys just wrapped up the draft a week ago.
We did.
In St. Louis, 70 rounds? 70 rounds
there
over
70
2 days.
rounds. There's 70 rounds over 2 days.
Yeah.
We're very happy with the way things concluded in the draft. We understood the premium of big people being able to move other big people, being able to establish the run and keeping defenses honest and keeping our offense balanced.
If I know anything about a Jonathan Hayes-led team, it's going to be a team that's going to be physical.
Yes.
You're going to try to move people out of the way and try to really run that rocket and control this game with toughness. Now, besides the name of the league, the XFL, I think we all remember back to 2001 what that league looked like. I think this league is going to look nothing like it. It seems like you guys are a serious product, and it's not a product. It's not going to be TNA. It's more for TDs. We want to see real football in the spring. What differences should people expect from this new league?
I think this league will look a little different. You know, we still want it to be entertaining. We still want it to be an up-tempo game. We still want it to have the explosive plays, but we also want it to be professional football.
Not a gimmick. This is not a gimmick.
You're not going to see gimmicky things and all that. Now, you know, some of our things that we're changing for rule purposes, not that they're all in cement yet, but I think some of the changes I think people will like.
Right. One of the changes I do like is the fact that you guys, one of the taglines of the league is more ball, less stall. I think there's a report out I saw in the Wall Street Journal. In an NFL game, there's actually only 11 minutes of actual gameplay.
The play clock's going to be sped up. It's
30 seconds, right?
Yes. Or they're still trying to make a decision whether it's 30 seconds or 25 seconds.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, you know, once they come
a lot of pressure on the head coach to get a play call in.
Yeah. But I think also what it'll allow you to do is get plays called, get people on and off the field. You still can have shifts of motion, but you just got to do it and be fast about it and quick and make your mind up and make a decision. You can't just sit over there and have the time that you've had in professional football in the past.
What most excites you about being part of this league, since you are on the ground floor, as I mentioned?
Probably the most exciting part for me at this point, besides the fact working with young men and getting them to move all in the same direction, is just creating it from the ground up. I was fortunate enough, I'm the general manager of the team along with being the head coach. So I get to build the team. I hired the coaches. I hired the equipment guy. I hired my
this is your recipe.
Yes, my football ops guy. I hired the DPP, the director of pro personnel, the trainers, all those things. My hand was in it, which I learned a lot from wearing a lot of hats when I was here in Cincinnati, and it really gave me an insight on how Marvin did things and how important it was to be on top of everything. And it's a fun thing to juggle, but sometimes you got to make sure you don't put too many balls in the air.
Absolutely. All right. Before we let you go here, we got to talk a couple of things. We got to talk about the team that you spent 16 years with here in Cincinnati.
Sure.
Still live here in this town.
I do.
Bengals dropped to 0-8 today after losing to the Rams in London. They finally seem to get the tight ends in play today. And by the way, happy Tight Ends Day. It's National Tight Ends Day today. I don't know if you knew that. Yeah.
Oh, for real?
Yeah,
I didn't know. Yeah. Well, thank you.
Happy National Tight Ends Day to you.
Thank you.
The Bengals finally seem to get their tight ends involved today. What are you seeing from this team? 0-8. Granted, last year wasn't a great year record-wise either. But do you see this team with what's going on? Are they going to be able to turn things around in any way, shape, or form?
I think that it's going to take time, needless to say. I think that the number one thing, like you and I had talked off camera, is when you have injuries, you still have to have depth to have success. You saw when the Eagles went to the Super Bowl, they had great depth. Not just Nick Foles, but remember Jason Peters also was out, and so was Johnson on the right tackle. So you have to create depth, and that's the one thing I'm finding out for myself. Building the team from the ground up. You want to make sure you have depth at the right position so that you can continue to move forward and have success in that. The second part is I think it'll come. The guys they're playing close games, so they have not spit the bit. Right. It's just now they just got to cut loose and trust themselves and believe in it. Go play. Go trust what you've been taught. Go trust how you've been taught to do it, and just go do it. And they'll be fine. Andy's been a quarterback in the NFL for a long time. He knows what it looks like. You know, we had success when we were here, and he knows how to get them back. And it might take him out of his comfort zone and have to be more vocal and be a guy that's going to have to stand up in front of the guys to get them, hey, you know, we got to get moving in the right direction. So, you know, I'm not in that locker room anymore, but I know the guys that are still there, some of them that, you know, they might not lead by vocally, but they'll lead by example. And I think guys will jump on board, and they just got to trust in each other.
Well, we're happy to have had the vocal stylings of Jonathan Hayes, the new head coach and GM of the XFL's St. Louis Battlehawks. You guys start training camp in December before the league starts in February. You guys played the Dallas franchise, your old Boston.
That's right. That's right.
All right. And also another small footnote for this XFL. One more thing I really like about this league. 3 black head coaches. The NFL only has 2. Jonathan, thank you for joining us tonight on the show. We'll be right back just after the break.